It's just a quick overview of the Olight Walker Pro on the Oclip X1, the China exclusives that you can pick up online and have shipped over to the UK. The Olight Walker Pro is the one that we'll have a look at first, and we'll come back to the X1. It's a 21700 light. It's got a spotlight, a flood light option. The floodlight is customizable. There's 3 different modes and 2 different settings that you can use flood on the UI. It's a little bit strange, a little bit different to some of the Olights in the past. I'll run over that in just a minute. In terms of charging, the Walker Pro uses USB Type-C, and that is it. There is no magnetic MCC charging with the Walker Pro. It's just got a standard tail cap with the Walker Pro logo on it. Quick overview of what it looks like. You've got knurling around the front and a little thin strip of knurling on the back. Got these ridges on the head up there, and then knurling on the side. The battery for this takes a 21700 battery. Now, this isn't the standard Olight 21700 battery. This is what the standard one looks like, or the one that I'm used to at least. This has come out of a Seeker 4 Pro. This will work in the Walker Pro. Put that in here. With flip modes, you will see we get light just on there. And turn it on. So it does work, the standard battery. Obviously it looks like a standard 21700. I think it's protected because it's got the additional circuitry at the top. You can see it under the protection circuits there. Now, the 21700, the standard Olight one, will charge from here, but it will charge over the USB Type-C. It won't charge via MCC because there is no attachment for that. This battery will not work in a Seeker 4 Pro. So we put this in the Seeker 4 Pro. Try and turn it on. Nothing at all. So don't try and use this battery in the Seeker 4 because it's not going to work. Now, put this back together. Quick run over the UI. The most simple one is mode 2. That's your spotlight. So if we hold it down, you get moonlight mode. Hold it down again, low, hold it down, medium, high, double click, there's your turbo, triple click, strobe. That's that, clip for off. You can lock it out, hold it, let go. You've got a lockout mode, just like you have, and that's the most similar to the Olight UI that, if you've had Olights before, you'll be used to. Let's take it out of lockout mode. Let's flick over to mode 1. This is a little bit different to how the switch on the Arcfold Ultras work. This one, the modes are on the dial, whereas the modes are on the casing of the light on here. That's something that I noticed that was a little bit strange. On this, if I wanted the UV, I would flick the tab to the right. On this, if I wanted mode 1, I'd flick the mode to the left. A little bit strange. I think that's why people say that the UI is a little bit strange on this. It's just different. This is actually similar to how the Workhorse HDL2 is. You want the option on the left, you flick this to the left. You want the option on the right, you flick it to the right. Going back to mode 1, turn it on. You can see that all of the flood LEDs are illuminated, and that is the neutral mode. While it's on, if you double click and hold on the second click, it will switch off the 1 and go to cool white. So this is the cool white option. Double click and hold, and it'll go back to neutral. If we go to mode 3, turn it on, you can see there, it's a bit bright, I've got just the warm light LED switched on. If I double click, do the double click and hold, you get the cool white ones come on as well, and you can go to neutral. And if you try and reverse it, it's warm. So just to recap, mode 1 on here is cool or neutral. Mode 2 is spotlight option. Mode 3 is neutral and warm option. That's the Walker Pro. So a size comparison, one thing I was going to do compared to the Seeker 4 Pro. Put the battery back in there so you can see what it's like. Compared to a Seeker 4 Pro, get it back in a sec. Seeker 4 Pro compared to a Warrior Ultra, and then lastly compared to a Marauder Mini. You can see it's a little bit longer than the Marauder Mini. The head isn't quite as wide, and the last thing that's different that I've noticed is the spot lens for the Marauder Mini is domed, so this is like a convex surface on the top. You can't really see it unless you're eyeballing it close, whereas the lens on the Walker Pro is just completely flat. Okay, that's the Walker Pro. Let's talk about the Oclip X1. The Oclip X1 is the same form factor as a Oclip Pro. Oclip Pro is the one with the flood, spot and red light, whereas the Oclip X1 has a spotlight, it has UV, which is similar to the Oclip Ultra, and it's got RGB, which neither of the others have. The spotlight on this, I will just compare them. I'll put it in moonlight so you can kind of see the difference. So spotlight on this is at the front, spotlight on the Pro is in the middle. Turning them onto moonlight, you can, maybe on low. There you go, a bit easy to see on low. You can see these are held the same distance away from the desk. The Pro has got a smaller, more intense spotlight with less flood, whereas the X1 is a more softer hotspot, a little bit wider of a hotspot than on the Pro, and there's a little bit more flood to it. If I go to flood mode, you can see the difference between the two. This has got very much a hotspot, but this is it for the white option on the Oclip X1. There isn't any other option for it. I quite like it, a bit more of a hybrid beam. I find the tint on the spotlights on the Pros and the Ultras to be quite green. It's a little bit too small of a spotlight for much use in my opinion. I much prefer using the floodlight on these as like a work light or in the headlamp adapter. The UV mode is in the middle at the top rather than on the far right on the Ultras. Same sort of spot, top left corner. That's the UV light, just one brightness. And the RGB remembers which one was on last. So it was on blue last time. If you hold it down, you can change between low and a high brightness on the colours. Double tap, change colour. Low, high. Double tap, low, high. That's it for the X1. Interestingly, it's got the Olight brand in the gold outside. Text on the side embossed as gold. Branded as the Oclip X1 rather than the Oclip Pro. And USB Type-C metal charging cover like you get with the Oclip Pros. One thing that is a little bit strange that I've noticed, the lens on the front on the Oclip Pro is glass, and the same with the Ultra. With the X1, it feels like plastic. It feels a little bit tacky, which tends to be indicative of a plastic lens. I've got an Arcfeld Pro. I've got the titanium gears one, which specifically had a glass lens upgrade. That one is a glass lens, and the orange one that I use for work is a plastic lens, and it feels just like this. So this is a plastic lens versus the glass one. Not quite sure the reason for that, but just something I wanted to point out. So yeah, that's your overview of the Olight Walker Pro and the Oclip X1. Thank you.